Welcome to Strategic Management in a Global Context. I'm Kate Atchley, Director of the Executive MBA for Strategic Leadership at the University of Tennessee. With me today is Dr. Russell Crook, Associate Professor of Management in UT's College of Business Administration. Dr. Crook will be providing a high-level overview during today's webinar of strategic management concepts. The last few minutes we'll take questions and review the Executive MBA program. You can use the question box at the bottom of the screen to type in your questions. We'll answer as many of those as time allows in our 30 minutes together. I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Crook.
Okay. Thank you, Kate. Well, I'm happy to be here with you today, and I'm going to talk briefly about the agenda and what we're going to cover in the next few minutes. We're going to start off by talking briefly about the strategic management process, talk about a SWOT analysis, PEST analysis, 5 forces analysis, competitor analysis, and then a relatively new but gaining an influential tool, the Balanced Scorecard, and talk about the Executive MBA for Strategic Leadership here at UT. So understanding the process. I get a lot of questions about what is strategic management and is there a process? Well, absolutely there is. And it really requires executives and managers to build a careful understanding of how the world is changing and the knowledge of how those changes might affect a particular firm. And really, there's a lot of evidence out there that suggests that there's a really strong link between managing strategically and having a high level of performance for your organization. And strategy is really about putting together plans that then, once you understand that there is an important link, you begin by setting up goals and you do environmental and internal scanning. Environmental scanning requires looking at what's happening outside the firm. Internal scanning is with what's happening within the organization. Then you formulate the strategy and implement it, and then you benchmark and you measure your performance against those goals that you set on the front end to see how you're doing and make any changes as needed. So one of the most common tools that we talk about and teach in the business school is what's called a SWOT analysis, and this has an internal and external component. So the internal analysis is where you look at your organization's strengths and weaknesses, and these are factors that can help or hinder the corporate goals, and these tend to be within managerial control. And the external analysis is, these are things that are outside of the organization, and this can be in the competitive environment and also in the external environment within your particular country that your firm may operate within. So talk about the PEST analysis, and this is one of the most common frameworks for evaluating a general environment before you start to build your strategy. And there's a variety of factors that we think about, and these are things that may affect your organization, but less directly than, let's say, your competitors. So if we think about the political legal environment, are there some regulations that are affecting your business or may affect the business down the road? What are the economic factors within your particular country or countries that you operate in? Which direction are those economic factors moving in? Are they going to present opportunities? One of the most common trends that we see now is that product life cycles are becoming more and more compressed, and that technology is basically more pervasive in every aspect of our work life than it ever has been, and within the products that are made. So how those things are also going to affect your organization. Then the demographics, these are basically groups that you may sell to that may work within your organization, and these are things in the general environment that will affect your organization and can be categorized as an opportunity or as a threat based upon the nature of those. So then we can actually look at the specific environment, and that's the next slide. You can see the highlighted portion. So these ideas are from a Harvard economist named Michael Porter, and they've really stood the test of time. But when you look at the environment, so you can look at the general environment and you can look at the specific environment, this is going to affect your organization, the profitability of your organization more directly than those factors in the general environment. And one of the things, you've seen all of these trends over the last few years. You see people move in and out of the stock market because something's hot. You see them buying .com stocks. You see them buying real estate. Well, this is a different framework, and it suggests that you should never get caught up in this herd mentality, and that really, if you want to pursue profitable growth for your organization, the key things that you look at are within the industry and the structural characteristics of the industry, not simply whether everybody is doing something, ergo, I should do it as well. So one of the things that we think of most commonly is the current rivalry in industry. Obviously, if there are a lot of competitors and those competitors are about the same size, well, then the level of competition seems to be high. And this can cause some problems for industry competitors because these price wars may happen and things along those lines. And then the level of ease that it is to enter an industry also can harm the specific industry environment. And this is a little bit different. If it's easy for a potential competitor to pop up, it naturally places a cap on the prices that can be charged by firms in the industry. Because if everybody sees these firms making large profits and it's easy to get into the industry, then why wouldn't they move in as well? Then the bargaining power of buyers and suppliers, if you're cause some problems on the profitability side as well. Bargaining power of suppliers, in my former life, I worked at IBM, and I always had to negotiate with Intel, and they were the most difficult supplier to negotiate with. And why was that? Well, they had a product that everybody wanted. So, you would ask them to make a change, and they would simply say no. And then you'd ask them about another change, they would simply say no. And I was in the personal computing division, which was then sold off to Lenovo. And the reason for that was we had very little bargaining power over our suppliers, Intel being one of them, and the suppliers were actually profitable, but the OEMs or original equipment manufacturers were not. And then lastly, in the specific environment, the ease of which substitute products are available. So it doesn't mean going from ExxonMobil to British Petroleum as a substitute product, but it would mean maybe switching from petroleum to natural gas or alternative sources of fuel. And those are going to also put a cap on what firms in the industry can charge and the profitability. So taken together, when you look at the general environment, the specific industry environment, you can start to think in terms of these opportunities or threats in terms of putting together your strategic plan. One of the tools that might be useful for you and your organization is to look at what's called competitors. And this is just a tool that can be used to help you figure out which competitors deserve the most of your attention. So if we look at this and we look at the breadth of the menu and perceived quality as being important attributes in the restaurant industry, you can see that there are different subsets of firms that appear. So we have Ruth Chris and Benihana and P.F. Chang's in the uppermost bubble, where there's a high level of perceived quality and a medium breadth of menu. So these firms compete more directly with each other than they do with Kentucky Fried Chicken, Popeyes, and Pizza Hut, which is in the bottom left. Does that mean that those firms don't need to pay attention to what the other firms are doing? No, there may actually be some meaningful things that those firms can learn from each other. But in terms of their their pricing, their menu, there are certain groups of firms that need to be paid more carefully attention. And so on this particular slide, you see that I have perceived quality and breadth of menu, but those are just two of many things that might be important for the competition or assessing the competitors in your industry. You may look at pricing, you may look at distribution, you may look at quality, you may look at defects and things along those lines. But it's a useful tool for bracketing the competitors that merit more attention than others. So one of the more common tools that we're on the front end of building a strategic plan, how do you want to focus on your goals? And this basically says, we probably want to look at 4 key areas. Financial, and this is how we're doing from a profitability growth standpoint. Customer, how do our customers see us? We need to take stock of that, measure that somehow. Internal business processes, what do we need to be good at in terms of our knowledge, skills, and abilities and our resources, and then learning and growth. And this is, can we continue to improve and create value? One of the things that we've really seen a trend in the last 5 to 7 years with the economic challenges is that that's been probably one of the least invested areas in organizations. But obviously, if you're joining us today, that's something that you're interested in. But so why do we even talk about the balanced scorecard? Well, historically, managers have really been focused on really on financial goals. And while that's very, very useful and it's very, very important, when you focus singularly on that goal, other things may go by the wayside. So you may, for example, spend less on research and development, or less on product development, or less on investing in your people because you're trying to pursue profitability goals. So this is just a brief glimpse at some of the things that we'll be covering in the Executive MBA program. For each of these slides in my course, I spend about an hour and a half. So giving you not even a 10,000, but probably a 25,000 foot view of the different tools that are available and that we cover more extensively. And if you have any follow-up questions, my contact information is on the back slide in the slide deck, and I'll be more than willing to answer any questions that you may have. So I'm going to turn this back over to Dr. Kate Ashley.
Actually, Russell, before I talk about the program, we have one question that's
depends on the size of your organization and how many people are involved, and the level of detail. So one of the things I'm fond of saying is that organizations can get in their own way too. This paralysis by analysis. So I would say a good SWOT analysis could be done in a large organization, 1,000 people or more, in about a month's time. But it does require a lot of managerial resources and attention. Probably about 25% of managers and executives' times can be spent with SWOT analysis and strategic planning in that month's time.
There's a follow-up question. Does a SWOT analysis have to be for the whole organization, or can I do it just for my unit?
It could be just for your unit as well. So especially on the strengths and weaknesses side, if you have different business units that have different product sets, let's say you're a diversified company like GE, it makes sense to do a SWOT analysis for each of the different business units within the organization.
And there's one more question right now. We're going to return to the balanced scorecard, and the individual has actually made a comment. Everything that he's seen about the balanced scorecard, it looks very complex. Are there a lot of companies using the balanced scorecard, or is this just something that not a lot of companies have the resources to do?
So I think all companies, I shouldn't say all, it's always a dangerous statement to make, but a lot of organizations are moving in this direction. And is it complex to use? Well, there's the old adage, show me how I'm measured and I'll show you how I act. So you have to be very careful with how you set up your scorecard, because there's no contradictions there. But I think a lot of organizations are using this. The organizations that I've worked with, consulted with, have moved in this direction, many of them, and they believe that it's a really powerful tool, because otherwise they might forget about some things that are really important.
All right. Thanks. That looks like that is it right now for the questions. I'm sure if you have other questions, you'll be typing them in. Let me spend a few minutes talking about the structure of our program in case there's some individuals that are interested in learning more about our Executive MBA. We have designed our Executive MBA program to focus on you. You complete your MBA in 12 months. We want you to maximize your time at work and at home. And so we have set up a series of residency periods where you can concentrate on your learning while you're here on campus. Then you return to work and family and focus on that and work at your own pace in between residency periods. I think as you can tell from Dr. Crook's mini lecture, that your professors address real world problems from a variety of perspectives, and we work to focus on common challenges that executives share across all industries. All of our faculty who teach in this program are not only top teachers and researchers, but all of them have had industry experience. They consult with industries, and they worked in business prior to earning their doctorates. They have a pragmatic view of business and teaching in this program, and once you MBAs out there. We've also designed this program to focus on your organization. We want your organization to view this year as a means to produce a carefully thought out, concrete results that advance the goals of the organization in a significant way, while also developing your leadership capability. We do this by teaching concepts at a strategic level in order to push your thinking. We want you to leave our program thinking 2 levels higher than where you are in the organization. That's our goal for you. 90% of the assignments are applied back to your organization. There's no esoteric random case studies. It's about your company, your industry, and diving deeper into that world. Your company will immediately benefit from your work in the areas of financial analysis, competitor analysis, human resource metrics, global opportunity analysis, just to name a few. We're also here for you after you graduate and for your organization. We build a relationship with you that does not end when you walk across the stage. The program structure is unique. We have 3 2-week residency sessions in Knoxville, Tennessee in January, May, and December, and we have 1 2-week session in an international location. We couple this with some online learning sessions, 18, which are voice interactive sessions, and these occur about every 2 weeks when you're not in class. And we record them in case you're traveling. Many of our folks have significant travel commitments, and so we record those sessions. We use the working on assignments and focusing on work and family life. The program is structured around some learning themes. You can see on the screen the learning theme for each of the residency periods. It's built around the following question. This is how we decide if we should include something in the curriculum. Is this a transformative experience that provides opportunities to learn what every executive needs to know? So will it transform your thinking, and will it give you an opportunity to learn? We couple that with the Leadership Development Program, which is a customized coaching relationship with an experienced coach that you work with one-on-one all year. We also have the Global Immersion Experience that I've indicated, where we compare the economics of 2 countries that look similar on the surface but are very different once you have your boots on the ground. This year we travel to Singapore and Shanghai, and next year we're traveling to Chile and Peru, to give you an idea of the places that we go. While we're in the international locations, we have discussions with local university faculty and executives, business executives. We have site visits with facilities and service organizations. We have discussions with government officials and visit banks. We also give you an opportunity to create your own site visit and perhaps meet with a potential client that you might have in one of those places. And part of the curriculum. This is an opportunity for you to design and execute a strategic initiative for your company. A faculty advisor assists you throughout the year. You work very closely with 1 or 2 faculty members, and you have a deliverable at the end of the year, a report and a presentation. You can think of this as a master's thesis, akin to that, but it's an applied project, and it's designed to have 3 primary objectives: to benefit your company, to give you an opportunity to enhance your skill set and apply what you're learning back at work, and also to enhance your profile in your company, to give you exposure to people you might not get to interact with on a daily basis. The average return for these projects for our student body is $6.5 million. It's often a selling point to your organization that they will see an immediate return on investment in your time coming to this company, or coming to this organization, excuse me. We also have the comprehensive strategic assessments, or CSAs, and these are significant assignments over the course of the year in functional areas such as strategy, marketing, finance, accounting, operations, and economics. It gives you an opportunity to improve your individual skills and understanding of the concepts discussed during the course of the year. And you do receive grades on the CSAs. And then finally, the Marketplace Capstone. This happens at the end of your 12 months with us. It's a competition among teams that we create from the program. You redesign work processes, you design new products, you analyze maybe a merger and acquisition, there's HR initiatives you can take place. It is a team-based computer simulation that is very intense and lasts for 4.5, 5 days to bring everything together and integrate. Will be 42 years old, though we have a range. Again, this is an average, and so we have students that are 27, 28, and we also have students that are 62, 63, but the average is 42 years old. Our typical class size is about 20. Our students come from a wide variety of companies with significant work experience and with some significant international experience. We hail from all over the U.S. And also from the globe. We usually have international students each year as well. Because we're a small group, you spend a lot of time with each other and with the faculty, getting to know each other very well and developing some lasting relationships. We have rolling admissions process for those of you who might be interested in applying. There is an online application. We require an undergraduate degree from an accredited university and a minimum 2.7 GPA or 3.0 from an international university, 2.7 from a domestic university. We require proficiency in spoken and written English, and we either need you to take the GMAT or ask for a GMAT waiver. GMAT waivers can be given if you have at least 10 years of work experience or you have a graduate degree. If you have a question about GMAT waiver, please send me an email and inquire. We also require 2 letters of recommendation from people who can speak to your potential. The 2014 program fee is $69,500. That includes your tuition, your fees, your books, your materials, that 2-week international trip. And it does not include lodging while you're in Knoxville, and it does not include travel to and from Knoxville or the international location. We feed you well while you're in this program as well, and it includes most of your meals. Invest as much as you can in yourself. You are your own greatest asset, spoken by the great Warren Buffett. There's something to be said for that. Spending a year in an Executive MBA program, returning to graduate school, is something that no one can ever take away from you. It's about focusing on yourself, spending time taking your career and your learning to the next level. And I hope that we can help you accomplish your career goals. If you have questions about the Executive MBA program or the University of Tennessee, or about strategic management concepts, there's information on the last screen for both Russell Crook and for myself. If you have other questions, we are here for you for the last few minutes. All right, so there is one question that just came in. What are the qualifications to participate in the Executive MBA for Strategic Leadership? This program, we've designed it for high potential executives that are in or moving into senior management positions in a wide variety of industries. We have people that are from healthcare, from government, from services, from manufacturing, from financial industries. Because the class is composed of these condensed residency periods and distance learning, We have people who come from all over the country and all over the world to earn their degrees. There's somebody right now wanting clarification about the GMAT, because I know people don't. Ten years of managerial experience, a great record of professional achievement, and a GPA at the undergraduate level of 3.0 or higher. We can talk about a waiver for you. If you have less than 10 years of managerial experience, we recommend the GMAT, but if you have any questions of whether you would qualify for a waiver, please contact us. And this next question is from somebody who is wondering about the $6.5 million return on investment. That the return on investment looks different for every project. Some projects have intangible results and some are much more tangible. Let me give you an example of some of the applied projects that we have for our organizational action project. We have people who have done a merger and acquisition analysis. We have had somebody put together a new product development process. We have seen people do human resource initiatives, looking at perhaps a new international market and proposing or even going to market internationally. It's whatever you and the company agree on that is of strategic importance to the organization. And we ask you to think in terms of a $1 million impact. Of course, that depends on your scope of responsibility. But if you think about a $1 million impact, either through revenue generation or cost reduction, or something of similar significant importance, that's what we're looking for. So the $6.5 million ROI comes from that organizational action project, but also some of the other CSAs that we have you do where you can deep dive into your organization and figure out what's going on and maybe make suggestions for improvements. And that's an average. Some projects see a $50,000 impact and others see a $200 million. So I'm not seeing any other questions. Then we're going to thank you for your time. We appreciate you being with us. Russell, just what you heard Russell do today is exactly how we teach our classes. They're very conversational, very applicable to what you're doing. If you have any questions for us, please let us know and give us a call. Thanks.